We're back again with immigration expert Andy Semochuk. Andy is an immigration lawyer with Pace Law Firm in Toronto, Ontario. Andy, recently there has been a lot of talk about full body scans and pat-downs in U.S. airports as part of the immigration process. What are your views on this?
Well, pat-downs and the whole security issue is related to immigration in that immigration is supposed to guard the United States from threats to national security and, of course, from criminals and mafiosos and other types that are trying to get in. And the people at the border have no way of knowing who's who other than going through some sort of security clearance, including these pat-downs. I'm in favor of the pat-downs, and I'm also sensitive to the matter of people being touched in inappropriate places. So there's got to be some sort of a delicate compromise there. But I don't see any other way around the issue of securing the airlines and people entering into the United States other than through pat-downs, and also perhaps through things like interviewing, like the Israelis do. Recently, there's been a lot of discussion about Wikipedia leaks and so on, and some of the leaks are showing what enforcement measures the U.S. Immigration authorities are trying to implement, and sometimes perhaps going too far and so on. It's interesting reading. We'll know more as more and more leaks come out. And generally, we have to just deal with life's realities, and one of the realities is pat-downs at the airports.
Andy, you mentioned illegal immigration. Can you comment on the illegal immigration issue as it stands now?
Yes. Well, basically, the American immigration system is struggling to cope with all these various pressures on it. Recently, we had the development in Arizona where the state took on the responsibility of trying to clear out these illegal immigrants that are in that state, which is generally a federal jurisdiction, a matter for federal law, and therefore there's some conflict with the federal authorities. But basically, the problem is there's about 11 million illegal immigrants in the United States, all trying to find a way of regularizing themselves. Now, there are bad dudes out there, criminals and other types, of course, among those illegals, but not everybody who's illegal is a bad dude that deserves to be thrown in jail and locked away forever. If you met some of these people, and I have, although at first I was completely unsympathetic to all illegals, I've realized that some of the reasons that people are in the United States in these circumstances cry out for some sort of compassion. People who were just desperate in their circumstances and were pushed into seeking out some sort of alternative. And some people who came in as children of parents who came in illegally and are stuck in this illegal nightmare and need a way out.
Is there anything that can be done to help someone who is illegally in the United States?
There are some things. It's limited on what can be done. Of course, we're waiting for some sort of reform, and the reform has to include the two elements. First, award good behavior. That is to say, reward good behavior. In other words, people who are following the legal system properly and trying to come into the United States, and punish people who are illegally behaving and not following the law. But at the moment, the law is upside down. It seems that those people who are behaving and properly following the law are being penalized, and those people who are illegal or not following the law are the ones that are getting in. So Congress has to act there. But as far as what can be done on our side as lawyers, immigration attorneys, there are a few things. One is the so-called 245I, which is a kind of a partial amnesty that makes it possible for someone who was in the United States on December 21st, I believe it is, 2000, and who wants to stay in the United States and can show that someone made some sort of an effort to sponsor them or to file an immigration application or even to file a work authorization for them. Such a person, with that in the background up to April 30th, 2001, is able to adjust their status by paying a penalty of $1,000 in with their application in order to get into the United States. It's complicated, but that's the basic element of it. If you were in the United States on December 21st, 2000, and somewhere in the past, in any way, someone either filed a sponsorship for you or perhaps for your parents and you were a kid in that sponsorship, included as a derivative beneficiary, or someone applied for you to be able to work for them, labor certification, anything of that nature would work. Another area where things can be done is if you should marry a U.S. citizen in a legitimate marriage, where it's an honest, real marriage. The fact that you marry a U.S. citizen can lead to your regularization of your status. And the final one is if you've been illegal since 1972, so-called registry can help you regularize your status. There are a few people like that who've been in the United States since 72, but occasionally I get a client like that and we can help those kind of clients.
You are a Canadian immigration lawyer as well. Are there any options for unlawful immigrants in the U.S. that would involve a Canadian immigration option?
In fact, there is. It's difficult, limited, but again, it can work for some people. If you as an immigrant in the United States, an illegal immigrant, that is to say someone in unlawful presence in the United States, entered the United States legally, perhaps as a visitor, for example, and then overstayed your visit, or as a student and overstayed your status as a student, such an individual and anybody who has worked, for example, in the United States and then perhaps fallen out of status, and who has stayed in the United States for a period of at least 1 year, such a person can apply to Canada and be approved for immigration to Canada based on the fact that they're applying from the United States and come directly from the United States to Canada. However, such a person has to qualify in the Canadian context. And usually such people would have to be either skilled workers, some sort of professional, such as a nurse or a teacher or something of that nature, or perhaps marry a Canadian as another option. Again, a true, sincere, honest marriage of a Canadian, some sort of a combination of that nature. But if you as an illegal immigrant entered the United States properly and have 1 year of lawful status, albeit that you may be illegal now, then you are eligible to apply to Canada, and that's the key thing, eligibility. But even if you're illegal and you're not eligible, it's always possible to apply through your home country. It may mean you may have to return home to pick up your visa and then go en route to Canada, but it's not impossible for you to apply through your home country as well. Again, you'd have to be a skilled worker, someone in the professions, or perhaps someone marrying or having family in Canada in order to qualify.
All right, Andy, thanks again, and we'll talk again soon. Everyone else, please visit pacelawfirm.com for more information.